great time. So I came in, basic training, AIT, PCS a couple places, deployed, came back. And the reason why I know that these jerks over here in the Bay Area aren't doing anything is because they were doing the same thing that they were doing when I was in the Army. Got out on a general discharge, right? So I was there when they just turned over the berets and they just started wearing ACUs, right? So they started wearing ACUs around, all right, 04, 03, about 04. Just turned over the berets, and I came in 06. So I was there during the end of the war, right? When it was dying down, everybody had to pull out during Barack Obama's drawdown. And it's the same people doing the same stuff from when I left in 06. In the same place, right? Doing the same stuff. In fact, the ones that weren't doing the same stuff now that I was doing when I was younger, they're doing it now. They don't like none of this. Right? If you look at a map of the United States is like this. And then there's a dip, right? The Bay Area is in a hole. It's really the way people thinking. A lot of people got out of there. Took their money and left. A lot of the people there now making these prank phone calls and doing what they're doing, sending these emails, were there when I was younger and I was a teenager. So just imagine that. Since I was 14 years old, just imagine being 14 years old somewhere and the same people doing the same business on the television that you've been watching since you were born are doing the same stuff to people that they did to people before me. It's absolutely hideous for people to go through. As far as my background in the military, you know, people try to compare like the new, you know, OCP days to today to the ACU days. The ACU days was nothing compared to the OCP days. It was a totally different breed. And even the guys that came in before me, they grew up in there in a different time. It was a totally different era. I was in there when George Bush was president and Barack Obama was president, and then got out. Stuff just changed, right? 2011, they started changing uniforms. Once you change the uniform, it's a totally different sight. People don't see the same stuff anymore. I was looking that stuff up when I was younger. You know, what can I do with myself as an adult? And doing this was definitely not on the menu. And getting a job is definitely out of the question. They want me to get a job. What do you mean? Why would I give up my amount of money just to take a pay cut? Because everybody knows how it works. If you're receiving money and you get a job and you start reporting to the IRS, they're going to take some money away. Why would I do that? Why would I go backwards? And that's what a lot of people are doing, going backwards. You know, back in the Bay Area, the ones I encountered, not everybody, and I don't want to say most because I encounter a lot of cool people, and that's what I don't understand is you can do business with people over there and it'll be fine, smooth transactions, but no more than 10 miles up the street, it's totally different. You get jerked around, you get ripped off. Like, there's an illness going on over there. There's really some type of sickness, some type of mental disease going on with people. It's like they don't want to be left alone. They don't want to be forgotten. You know, ever since the new software and equipment was installed for the internet and the world, the World Wide Web, so it can move through the world more smoothly, people changed. They really can't handle it. They altered their equipment. They changed the equipment in the Bay Area when everything was just automatic. All they had to do was just chill out and let it happen. But as soon as something changed, everybody's jumping up over there and trying to make a change, right? I never understood that. When it comes to making a change, you have to do something. You have to be physical. You have to engage and change. The ones I'm coming in contact with, they don't do that. The ones who aren't saying anything, the ones who aren't pressing me for any kind of change, those are the ones who make changes. Because they have something better to do than watch me and have me all in their head. The way the Bay Area is set up is in a dip, where it's really low. It's like sea level. So their radio masts have to send out further. They have to be on top of hills. They have to be taller. So if anybody's contacting the Bay Area and getting feedback through over the air, it's because they have to be higher, because they're low level. That's the way they can send out frequencies and have their signal strong, because they're so low. A lot of people make contact with the Bay Area and get negative feedback. It's because of that low-lying land. It really has to go over a mountain. And so it's going like this, like the Bay Area is right here, is going like this. Alright, so the Bay Area is here, and then they're sending information into a radio mast, and then it's going like this. Just recently, when I left, all of a sudden, there's a bunch of riots out there. Since 2013, before I left, before I moved out of there, there was no riots. There was one. I actually just thought about it. There was one. It was right outside my apartment. That was like 2016 or something, 17. I actually can't remember why. It was probably like a Black Lives Matter riot or something. When they destroyed the Mercedes-Benz dealership. So there was one. But from 2013 to now, there was one riot, and then there was one a couple weeks ago where the police got involved. They don't understand it. There's artificial intelligence going on right now with the software. Right? There's new equipment. There's boxes, right? There's new servers and new microchips that were developed where it allows the talking. Right? There's actual speech going on. It's not the clicking sound. It's not that anymore, right? It's not those tones anymore. It's actual speech. But it's not really speech because you're hearing it and you're interpreting it as speech. So it's not really speech. It's not actual words being spoken. It's how you interpret it. You know, when somebody says something from far away and you listen real hard and you think that they said a word when they really said something else, it's kind of like that. Like say somebody say like the color of the car is beige and you listen real hard and you thought they said the book, it turned the page or something like that. That's kind of what it is. And the people that has these satellites and antennas hooked up to their buildings, they're talking on microphones. They already have equipment to do talking for you. They don't understand that. They're old-fashioned. The ones who are in charge of this stuff, they're old-fashioned. The ones who know, they know. They know exactly what's going on. They know how it works. They're not over there trying to defend it. If you don't know, then you just don't know. People are just going to leave you at that. You just don't know. There's hundreds of videos on YouTube telling you this stuff. They wouldn't even know where to begin. Like they're so caught up in paperwork. They're admin clerks basically in the Bay Area. It's an admin place. For a place that doesn't get involved that much and they do a lot of, behind the desk type stuff, it's admin work. So that would explain the phone calls, the emails, thinking you can get the job done behind the desk. They're like, you're not going to do anything, right? Well, it's the admin state of mind. It's an admin way of thinking. And those are the ones who's mostly doing it. People behind the desk, typists, people doing administration. And just that word over there, you think it's a superior word when all it means is you're just doing paperwork and desk duties. Anybody who's been to school knows that there's a lecture side and a lab side. So they can teach you stuff all day behind the desk. But if you're not going to actively engage in that stuff, you're not going to know physically what it feels like. And that's what they fail to do. The ones who I'm dealing with, right? The ones who's messing with me and think they know better. Because I don't have any problems with anybody else over there, right? The ones who dealt with me, they know what's up. They grew up with me. They know they dealt business with me. But the ones who are doing the admin work, these administrators, these are the guys making phony copies. They're making prank phone calls. And they're sending bogus emails. It's just bad administration altogether. An educator. And throughout your life of being educated, from a child to an adult, you've never received an A+. And you become an instructor. And one of your students does a good job. You would know what a good job is because you've never received an A+ in your life. So it's hard to get an A+ out there because most of the people doing the instructing are C average students. That's what I was talking about, where I'm at an 80%, and some of these people that I'm dealing with are at 50%, and they're striving for 80 and 90%, and then get real angry that they don't achieve that goal. And everything just comes falling down for them. When you're surrounded by C-average students and you receive an A+, what happens? They clown you, right? They joke on you, they rag on you, they talk about you, right? You're the nerd, right? Well, that's how it is for the adults that's dealing with me, that's making it their main mission to watch my videos and send these phony emails out and, talk to people about me like I'm a problem for them. Because the way I see it is, if I give you a better grade, I ask for something from you to achieve something, and you achieve it and higher, what do you need me for? You don't need my help. It's just like how everybody's asking me, how can I be down with you and Sony and the whole Call of Duty thing, right? And the video game stuff. All I ask is, okay, you come in the top 3 on Call of Duty, win or lose. You can play with me. But if you're getting top 3 on a 6v6, win or lose, what do you need to be down with me for? You're good. You see what I'm getting at? You don't need my help. And that's what I'm getting at. There was a joke a long time ago, right in the 90s. This was like the early 90s. This is when I was little when I heard it. This guy said, I asked a NYPD officer for directions. He sent me down the street, told me to take a left, make a right, make another left, and the building would be on your right-hand side. And he took those directions and wound up in an alley. So basically the cop gave him directions to an alley. And then he said, that's why you don't get directions from New York City police. But this was a long time ago. They said, don't ever take directions from the NYPD. They're going to send you on one. Right? They're going to send you up the road, up the street, around the corner, and then you're going to wind up in a dark alley. Well, that's what I grew up on. You don't listen too hard to people, because they're going to give you directions. They're going to tell you what you want to know. But is it the right choice? No, it's not the right choice. It's not just a New York thing. It's a people thing. If you don't know, you're just afraid to say you don't know. That's what it is. You're in a position where you have to give an answer. You know those people in class. Whether it's right or wrong, they're always raising their hand. Because that wasn't even the right answer. You just keep raising your hand. You want attention. That's what it is. If I don't know, I don't know. Most of the time, that's what I've been telling people anyway. I don't know. Because I have to think about it. Because I'm not even thinking about it most of the time. I'm thinking about making my way to the dumpster and getting my trash inside the dumpster. Most of the things people want to know about me, I don't even remember. I'm thinking about which pants I'm going to put on. What's more important than thinking about something that I don't even really think about is, what am I going to eat in the morning? Those people who don't think about that stuff are really sheltered by people. They really don't know. When I made that video about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and how it was captured, and I'm at Sony now, I was homeless. I didn't have anywhere to stay. Yeah, literally homeless. Not, I don't have any money. No, like homeless veteran homeless. No help. I even went to the veterans sources to get help. No help. I was left on the street. Got sent on a circle jerk. Got sent around, just really just wasting my time. And see, here's the funny part about those Bay Area people that do that is as soon as they see you doing better, that's when all the phone calls come. All of a sudden, they want to call you. I left a bunch of stuff out there because I became homeless. I was living in a car for about 4 months, sleeping in a back room. I slept in the back room of a friend's house. I slept in my car. I slept in hotels, eating once a day. Sometimes not even eating at all. Sometimes eating peanuts and drinking soda. Just so I can save money. Just so I can move on and have enough gas to get me to my next destination. I was taking a shower about once a week, probably once every 2 weeks. But all people want to tell you about me is I curse too much, or I'm smoking cigarettes. There was people who knew I was homeless, and I still acted the way I was acting and never changed my attitude. I always believed in myself, knowing that I could move on without the people that destroyed me over a video. Can you believe that? People targeting you and speaking on you negatively because you make home videos and you're making videos for social media. I'm already used to it because that's what they did to me when I was in the Army. When I post my pictures, and this is during the days when Facebook, you would see a bunch of military, Army guys, the Army folks posting their uniform pictures. People will befriend them on Facebook, be their friend, see their pictures. They would pass my pictures around. And it got in the wrong hands, right? Some people are just doing it out of goodwill and saying, hey, he's doing better now, right? But some of those people didn't like that. I came to find out that the Bay Area was just a talent pool. And once talent is discovered, the talent leaves. Whatever positive exposure they can get from people. But when people ask them to do something positive, they don't have anything. But that's what people don't show you, though. If it feels negative, they don't show you. Just take that in right quick and just picture that. Growing up in the Bay Area, right, in Alameda County, near the water, though. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere I lived, the water was right there, right in that hole, right there where all the bridges are. That's where I grew up. And it's always been like that. Because I was like that. Because when you're younger, you don't see any way out. You're young. You got to go to school. You got to eventually get a job. And you just don't see yourself going anywhere further. Unless you choose a path where you leave and you have that opportunity to fly out of there. And the ones who do that, they go against. Everybody knows the Bay Area is the epicenter of protesting and all that, anti-war stuff. For somebody like me who came from that and then to join the army, they didn't like that. In fact, they're still asking questions about my prior service. What did I do? Who do I know? That's beside the fact. I came across a lot of people. And with those people I came across, I found out there was a lot of people like me. And if you even look at the service members that were in the Army years ago, you would know that when they picked these guys up, these guys were just like me. Guys on the street, no hope, no chance at life. Those are the ones who really made history. Those are the ones that get talked about. They get talked about. Those good guys that were in there, they were bad guys. Like Billy the Kid, that guy was a sheriff. He was a sheriff in Arizona. So just think about that. One of the biggest outlaws in American history was actually a sheriff. It's stuff like that that make people like me and the bad guys. Because the people who see the outer don't know the internals of it. They really don't know the secrets. Those are the ones holding up the signs. Those are the ones yelling. Those are the ones screaming. When really all you're doing is just yelling behind a desk. Those are the admin guys. And they're not even professional administrators. We had a saying back in the ACU days, I don't know if they say it now. A stupid civilian. Those are the guys that I was hanging out with. The guys who said that type of stuff. The drunk soldier. The alcoholics. The Article 15 guys. I'm not the first or the last to catch an Article 15. So once I picked that up and I got out, uniforms changed. We used to call it multicam. The first time I seen multicam was at Fort Benning. Now it's Fort Moore. But I'm a Fort Benning guy, so I'm going to say Fort Benning. During the Fort Benning days, when they were testing out the multicam OCP uniform with the Air Force boots, and everybody else was in ACUs. So that's what I was going through. Then, I came out and I became a stupid civilian. So I thought about that. The same guys they used to call the civilians not getting it done, the ones always complaining about you being in the Army, messing up your paperwork, you call them back home trying to get it fixed. They don't move like you, they don't speak like you, they don't act like you. They're not always working out. They're fat, sloppy. But they have everything to say, right? They're tough talking. They're talking about they're going to do this and all this other stuff. I know what it feels like. That's why I don't talk about it too much. As far as those guys in there, I know what you see. I know how it feels. I'm not in the gym. I couldn't run a 13-minute 2-mile now if my life depended on it, man. I couldn't bust out 200 pounds on a bench press every day. I couldn't do 100 push-ups, 80 sit-ups. I don't have rippling abs anymore. But that's what I'm going through with these people. Is right when you thought it was over, when you take the uniform off, here they come again. And a lot of people don't go through that. I'm going through it. That's why I got out of there. It's just not happening out there for me. And that's what I found out. I used up all my resources. No matter how much I pay my bills, no matter how much I be polite to people, the moment I do something that people keep building on as negative, they're just gonna attack you. It's not the streets. Trust me, it's not the streets. It's not the gang warfare. It's not thugs on the street bothering me. I never had problems with the streets in the Bay Area. I got away with a lot of stuff in the Bay Area because of the way I grew up and the connections I made in the streets. The only difference between me and them is I left. And some of them are prior service. Some of y'all don't know that. People are asking, what's the problem with California? What's wrong with California? What's wrong with Cali? Why they doing the gang thing? Why they acting like that? Most of those people doing that are prior service, whether you know it or not. That's the secret. It's not a secret. But for you guys who don't know, people who don't know what's going on with California, the Bay Area, Southern California, they're all prior service. And it may not seem like it, but they're like me, whether you want to believe it or not. Some places, prior service, they buy big houses, they have a family, they're married. No, not in California. Just get the money, do what you need to do, and ride the wave. And some people don't have a problem with it. They can deal with it. But I did so much out there, people just don't even have anything else for me. So that's my problem. There's people like that in the Bay Area. There's the people hiding in buildings behind their desk jobs. And trust me, I know what you're going through. All right, from working in forests, I've chopped trees down, raked leaves. I had desk jobs. And the one thing that always go through your head is, how can I get more and be better? And some options just aren't even in the question. I can't tell you, the way you can get better is by joining the military. That's not always the right option. What it is you have to be put in an environment that allows you to be better. If your environment isn't allowing you to be better, then you're just not going to get better. You're always going to be on a defensive mode. You're not safe. You're not in a safe place. That's what it is. That's really all the answer I have for you. Speaking on a general status, just generic, your mind isn't in a safe place. Because you're worrying about people around the corner, in the building. Who's the next person that's going to snap at you? Right, who's going to get at you today, right? That's what you're thinking. What's the problem today? There's always a problem, right? When you're not in a safe place with yourself, there's always a problem. You're always worrying. You don't think about what's better outside of your environment. You just kind of just deal with it. You settle. You made it this far with the way you're brought up. So you just think that it's just the way it is. And for people who travel, people who travel know there's other places. I was told that no matter how big of a star, no matter how important you get, no matter how much money you make, you're not bigger than the world you're in. And once you take that in and you believe that, everything just seems to smooth out. And it goes back to where when I applied that to my 80%, and I strive for at least 90% to be better and never expect 100%, then I know everything is going to be okay. It doesn't matter if I go below 80% because I'm at 80% no matter what. That's the part that you can't change about yourself. Is you were set And the only way you'll make a difference is if you do better. Once you get set at a certain percentage in your life, you just won't go back. Why would you diminish yourself? There's no reason to. You made it that far. If it took me this long just to get 80% in life, why would I do things to make me go 70, 60, 50, 40, 30%? At a certain percentage, you don't want to go back. You need to just stop. If you just stop dead in your tracks at your percentage, there's no harm you can do. And if you're already set at a high percentage, everything you do is going to be closer to the top. It's just going to be easier to be better. No matter what you do, you're just going to be better at it. Because you're already closer to the top. Well, I think that's it. That's my speech for the day. So for the ones watching, even if you don't listen to my words and you can't stand the look of me, at least I got my message out. It's not to impress those admin clerks in the Bay Area, but those are the ones I'm speaking to. It's those people. So if you think I can do better, I think you should do better. Because since 2006 and even 2003, you were in the same place I found you. When all this started and everything changed in this country in 2001, and then it started in 2003 until 2015 when it ended, every single person with something negative to say about me and always have a change for me are in the same place I found them. Behind the same desk, in the same buildings, doing the same line of work. With everything just being said a few moments ago, the place where I'm at is not going to change. It's just not. I'm not going backwards. I can't go backwards. Especially when the speech and the talk is all computer generated and made by machines. People are doing what machines do. We all know the joke behind that. You act like a machine, you know what it is. As an adult, you're acting like a machine, trying to compensate. That's all it is. You're compensating. You think you know what's right. Shout out to dude for bouncing the ball back for the check.